This has been taught to me by my father, Arjuna. However, I do not know how to escape from it if some kind of danger overcomes me." Yudhisthira replied, "O foremost of all warriors, break this formation just once, and we will follow you and protect you on all sides. Have no fear, for once inside that great formation we will shatter it to pieces." Abhimanyu said, "Today I will do what is beneficial to the army of the Pandavas. I will penetrate the invincible formation arranged by Dronacharya. Today you shall behold large divisions of soldiers slain by me, a mere boy. If anyone encountering me escapes with his life, I shall not regard myself as begotten by Arjuna. Today I will destroy the whole Kaurava army, or I will not consider myself to be the son of Arjuna." Abhimanyu then ordered his charioteer to proceed toward the divisions of Drona. His charioteer, Sumitra by name, then spoke to the intelligent son of Arjuna. "A heavy burden has been placed upon you by the Pandavas. You should carefully ascertain whether or not you can bear such a burden. The preceptor Drona is a master of superior weapons and mature in battle. You are still a youth and have been brought up in luxury, unaccustomed to the front lines of the battlefield." Laughing all the while, Abhimanyu said to his charioteer, "O Sumitra, who is this Drona? Who are any of these warriors of mortal frame? I have the courage to encounter Indra himself in battle, what to speak of these common warriors assembled here? Endowed with the energy and strength of my uncle Krishna and my father Arjuna, I waver not at the thought of challenging anyone." Disregarding the words of his charioteer, Abhimanyu said, "Go with speed towards the army of Drona." Thus commanded, the charioteer urged the horses toward the front line of the battle. The Pandavas followed behind him, desirous of also entering that powerful formation. Beholding him coming towards them, the Kauravas sent up loud roars and attacked him with all their strength. Arjuna's son was encased in golden mail, and his standard bore the sign of a Karnikara tree. He fearlessly encountered Drona like a lion attacks a herd of elephants. The warriors on the sides of the Kauravas tried desperately to stop Abhimanyu, but within the sight of Drona, the son of Subhadra pierced that powerful formation and split it open. Endeavoring to close the open gap, large divisions of elephants, chariots, and horsemen challenged the son of Arjuna. They loudly shouted at him, "Wait, wait, stand and fight." However, the mighty warrior Abhimanyu, coursing the battlefield, killed all those warriors as they rushed at him. With his mighty weapons, the son of Arjuna cut off their heads, arms, and legs as they approached him. Although the enemy rushed at him with great speed and armed with every kind of weapon, their approach was like moths coming close to a fire. Abhimanyu was severing the heads of the foremost of the chariot fighters, and the chariots were seen running wild all over the battlefield with no driver or fighter. Elephant divisions were slaughtered together and fell upon the infantry, crushing their ranks. These huge beasts then formed a barrier between him and the enemy force, so great was the slaughter. Severed heads littered the ground and were seen with their eyes bulging out from their sockets. Armless and headless trunks were lying here and there, bathed in blood and covered with dust. There were innumerable fallen bodies of great heroes that were covered with golden armor, garlands, and smeared with sandalwood paste and diverse kinds of fragrant oils. Many heroes lay with their tongues rolling out and eyes detached from their sockets, and others lay with their intestines and livers drawn out by the arrows of the son of Arjuna. Abhimanyu crushed the Kaurava ranks and caused them to flee from the battlefield. Upon witnessing the rout of his army, Duryodhana was filled with anger and rushed at Subhadra's son. Knowing that the king could not stand before this young boy, Drona ordered Ashvatthama, Kripa, Salya, Karna, Kritavarman, Shakuni, Brihadbala, Bodhishrava, Sala, Paurava, and Vrishashane to save the king. Rushing at the son of Arjuna, they released their shower of arrows and took away the king in his presence. They took him away like one trying to snatch a morsel of food from a hungry lion. Abhimanyu challenged each of those warriors and covered them with his arrows. He then sent up a loud roar of victory. Not tolerating such action, all the great warriors released their weapons with the intention of killing the son of Arjuna. However, Abhimanyu cut off all those arrows before they reached him. Failing in the attempt to pierce him, all the great Maharatis covered him with more arrows, hoping to frighten him away. Abhimanyu, however, countered those weapons and pierced each of the great warriors with 3 arrows. The son of King Ashmaka was able to come within close range of Abhimanyu and pierced him with 10 arrows. Abhimanyu counted those arrows with 10 of his own and killed his enemies, horses, and charioteer. Abhimanyu then cut off the arms and head of that powerful hero. When Karna came within reach, Abhimanyu pierced his armor with blood-sucking arrows. Piercing his body, they entered into the earth. Karna, struck senseless, fell to the floor of his chariot. Abhimanyu covered the battlefield with great speed, challenging the great warriors and defeating them all. He came upon the ruler of Madras, Salya, and covered him with his golden arrows. Struck in this way, the ruler of Madras fainted away and was taken from the battlefield. Witnessing the victory of Abhimanyu, the demigods, the Pitris, the Charanas, and the Siddhas sang his glories from the heavens. Meanwhile, the brother of Salya rushed at the son of Arjuna in great anger. He covered him with many arrows and sent up a loud roar. In return, Abhimanyu released hundreds of arrows that killed his horses and charioteer, severed his standard, cut off the wheels of his chariot as well as his canopy, and shattered all his weapons to pieces. He then cut off the head of the brother of Salya, and with this action all the supporting troops of Duryodhana's army fled away in fear. Rallying the troops, many great warriors rushed at Abhimanyu screaming, "You shall not escape with your life today." Smiling all the while, the son of Arjuna pierced those warriors with weapons he had received from Krishna and Arjuna. Disregarding the heavy burden placed on him by the Pandavas, he fearlessly released his arrows. Like Arjuna, his bow was constantly drawn in a circle. No one could tell when he drew the arrow from the quiver and when it was released from the bow. Witnessing the prowess of Abhimanyu, the other Pandavas took no part in the battle, but acted only as spectators. Duryodhana was greatly angered to see the rout of his army. He spoke to the great Maharathis as follows. The preceptor Drona, out of affection, does not wish to kill the son of Arjuna. No one can escape the wrath of Drona when he is enraged. Arjuna is the preceptor's disciple, and this is Arjuna's son. Drona looks upon him with pride and does not wish to kill him out of affection. It is for this reason that this foolish boy is victorious. I order all of you today to crush him. When ordered in this way, Dushyasana said to his brother, O monarch, I tell you now that I will slay the son of Arjuna within the very sight of the Pandavas. I will devour this son of Subhadra like Rahu devours the sun. When the two Krishnas hear of the death of Abhimanyu, they will also die out of lamentation. Once they are dead, it will be easy to defeat the rest of the Pandavas. With the death of this one person, victory will be ours. Saying this much, Dushyasana rushed at Abhimanyu, covering him with his mighty weapons. Seeing him coming, Abhimanyu spoke to him. It is by good luck that today I am able to behold you, who are the embodiment of a braggart and a fool. In the assembly of kings at Hastinapura, you insulted Yudhisthira, as well as my father and my uncles. O wicked person, today you shall receive the fruit of such actions. I shall today chastise you in front of the whole army. Today I shall free myself from the debts I owe to the angry Krishna and to my father, who always looks for the opportunity to challenge you in battle. O Kaurava, I shall today free myself from the debt I owe to Bhima. Only if you run away from the battlefield will you escape with your life. Having spoken these words, Abhimanyu invoked a celestial weapon with great effulgence. Releasing that arrow with the speed of lightning, it pierced the shoulder joint of Dushyasana up to the feathers. He then released 25 more arrows that resembled fire. Deeply pierced and greatly pained, Dushyasana sat down on the floor of his chariot and fell into a deadly swoon. He was then taken away from the battlefield. Beholding this, the Pandavas were filled with joy and caused the battlefield to resound with conches, drums, and bugles. Karna again came forward to fight with Abhimanyu. He pierced Abhimanyu with hundreds of arrows, stretching his bow to its fullest extent. The son of Falgun felt no pain and released his deadly arrows that killed Karna's horses and charioteer. Abhimanyu then cut the standard from his chariot and shattered his bow to pieces. Beholding Karna in the grip of death, his younger brother proceeded quickly against the son of Arjuna. He roared loudly, and stretching his bow, he released 10 arrows that pierced the standard, the umbrella, the charioteer, and his horses. With this action, the heroes of the Kaurava army sent up loud shouts. However, with a cool and calm frame of mind, Abhimanyu with a single shaft cut off the head of the brother of Karna, and the smiling faces of the Kauravas changed to one of disbelief. Karna ascended another chariot, and in great anger, eager to avenge the death of his brother, he rushed at Abhimanyu. However, Abhimanyu shattered his bow and countered his weapons, causing him to run away from the battlefield. Having routed the Kaurava army, no one stood before Abhimanyu except Jayadrath, the ruler of the Sindhus. That bull amongst the Kshatriyas, Abhimanyu then blew his conch shell and roared loudly, bringing great joy to his uncles. Sanjaya continued. O king, the Pandavas, accompanied by Satyaki, Sikandi, Dristadumna, Virat, Drupad, and Dristaketu, followed the path of destruction left by the son of Dhananjaya. They were hopeful to rescue him from the ocean of the Kauravas. Seeing their coming, your son-in-law Jayadrath, the ruler of the Sindhus, checked their progress and stopped them from going any further. The powerful son of Virata, invoking his celestial weapons, resisted the advance of those great heroes, thus closing the gap in that great formation. Dhritarashtra inquired. A heavy burden was placed upon Jayadratha, inasmuch as he alone had to stop their progress. What benedictions had he received to be able to single-handedly stop all those great warriors? Sanjaya replied, while the Pandavas were living in the forest, Jayadratha insulted Draupadi and was beaten almost to death by Bhimasena. When humiliated in this way, Jayadratha began to perform great austerities, reducing his body to skin and bones. Trying to please Lord Shiva, he ate little and slept little. When Lord Shiva was pleased with him, he appeared to Jayadratha in a dream and asked him what he wanted. With folded palms, Jayadratha asked for the benediction that he could defeat the Pandavas at least once. Lord Shiva granted the benediction, saying, "You may defeat all of the Pandavas except Arjuna." Now with this benediction, he is standing before them like a maddened lion. Sanjaya continued, Listen, O king, as I describe in detail how Jayadratha stopped the progress of the sons of Pandu. Jayadratha rode upon a beautiful chariot drawn by horses of the Sindhu breed. His standard bore the device of a large silver boar. Drawing his bow to a full stretch, he released death-dealing arrows, stopping the Pandava army from further advancing. He pierced Satyaki with 3 arrows and Bhima with 8. He struck Dristadumna with 60 shafts, Sakandi with 10, and Drupad with 5. He pierced Yudhisthira with 70, and covered the Pandava army with his celestial weapons. Yudhisthira quickly cut off the bow of Jayadratha, but the ruler of the Sindhus quickly took up another and pierced the son of Dharma with 10 arrows. Bhima then shattered the bow of Jayadratha, cut off his standard as well as the beautiful umbrella that adorned his car. The mighty Jayadratha took up another bow and destroyed the chariot and horses of the second son of Pandu. Bhima quickly got down from his chariot and ascended the chariot of Satyaki. With this action, the Kaurava army cheered and rushed forward to fill the gap made by Abhimanyu. Although the Pandavas and their divisions tried desperately to follow the path of Abhimanyu, they were stopped by the ruler of the Sindhus on account of the benediction received by the powerful Lord Shiva. Meanwhile, Abhimanyu was mowing down the divisions of troops that came to oppose him. The son of Karna, Vrishisena, attacked Abhimanyu with great strength, but the son of Arjuna cut his bow, killed his charioteer, and felled his standard from the chariot. With this action, Vrishisena was taken away from the battlefield by his unbridled horses. The leader of a division of chariot warriors, Vasatiya, then attacked Abhimanyu, releasing hundreds of arrows. He pierced the son of Arjuna and said to him, "As long as I am alive, you shall not escape with your life." Before he could finish what he had to say, Abhimanyu pierced his coat of armor and set him to the abode of Yamaraj. Then the Kaurava host came in thousands to fight with the son of Falgun. As they approached him, they were sent in thousands to the other world. The son of Salya, Rukmarath, desired to save the Kaurava army from the ocean of Abhimanyu. He spoke to his forces, "Have no fear from this son of Arjuna. I will capture this one alive and hand him over to you as a present." Having said these words, the son of Salya rushed at the son of Falgun and pierced him in the chest with 3 arrows, and in the right and left arms with 3 arrows. He then uttered a loud roar. Falgun's son, however, cut off with his powerful arrows the right and left arms as well as the head of that great hero. With the death of Salya's son, his friends rushed at Abhimanyu in thousands. Covering the son of Subhadra so that he was invisible, they all thought that he was now dead. Enraged and desiring the death of those warriors, Abhimanyu invoked the Gandharva weapon received from his father. That weapon caused a great confusion among the followers of Rukmarath, and while in that state, Abhimanyu killed them all. Dhritarashtra inquired, "O Sanjaya, the victory of Subhadra's son is indeed wonderful, and almost impossible for an ordinary human to accomplish. After Duryodhana was defeated and the 100 princes slain, what did the warriors of my army do against the son of Subhadra?" Sanjaya replied, "Beholding the army broken and fleeing from the battlefield, Drona, Ashvatthama, Brihadvala, Kripa, and Duryodhana rushed at Abhimanyu, releasing their powerful weapons. However, they were all beaten back, and the only one left to challenge Abhimanyu was Lakshman, the son of Duryodhana. He was young, accomplished in arms, and inexperienced in warfare. Still, he challenged Abhimanyu and released his selected arrows, hoping to kill his opponent. Anxious about his son, Duryodhana followed him close behind. Other chariot fighters came up to protect Duryodhana, and they all began to shower their weapons upon Abhimanyu. Lakshman released arrows that struck Abhimanyu in the chest and arms. He roared loudly, encouraging the retreating troops. Abhimanyu then spoke to Lakshman. Look for one last time upon this world, for in the presence of your kinsman I will dispatch you to the abode of Yamaraj." Saying this, Abhimanyu pulled out a broad-headed arrow resembling a snake and released it for the destruction of the son of Duryodhana. Scorching through the sky, it severed the head of Lakshman. Beholding Lakshman slain, Duryodhana was enraged and ordered Drona, Kripa, and Karna with the words, "Slay this wretched person." When they attacked in this way, Abhimanyu beat them all off, though they had encircled him desiring his death. The son of Arjuna then began to cover the battlefield like the wind, and soon came upon the divisions of Jayadrath. Coming up to challenge him were Drona, Karna, Kripa, Brihadvala, the mighty king of the Koshalas, Kritavarman, and Ashvatthama. Abhimanyu greeted them with a shower of arrows. He pierced Drona with 50 and Brihadvala with 20. He pierced Kritavarman with 8 and Kripa with 60. He struck Ashvatthama with 10 arrows, and with a broad-headed arrow he pierced Karna in the ear. He then killed the horses of Kripa and killed the chariot warriors that were protecting the Acharya's chariot. He then killed the brave Vrindaraka, who was very dear to the Kaurava generals. Not tolerating that action, the ruler of the Koshalas, Brihadvala, pierced Abhimanyu with a barbed arrow and sent up a loud roar. The ruler of Koshala had brought an Akshahini division of soldiers to fight with the Pandavas, and he was a mighty Maharathi. However, Abhimanyu pierced the king in the chest with a long-shafted arrow and split his heart in two. Having slain that great warrior, the son of Arjuna raced across the battlefield, leaving a path of total destruction wherever he went. Abhimanyu could not be stopped. Karna came up to challenge him, but the son of Arjuna quickly killed 6 of Karna's counselors that protected him on all sides. Abhimanyu then killed the son of Jayatsena, the ruler of Magadha, and with 6 shafts he killed the great warrior Ashvaketu. With a razor-headed arrow, the son of Arjuna then killed the Bhoja prince Martrikvata, and with this action Abhimanyu sent up a loud roar, frightening the Kaurava army. When Shakuni had been defeated in battle by Abhimanyu, he went to Duryodhana and said, "In single combat there is none of us that can kill him. Let all 6 of us challenge him at once and grind him." Hearing these words, all the 6 Maharathis, Drona, Karna, Kripa, Kritavarman, Ashvatthama, and Shakuni, discussed how to encompass the death of Abhimanyu. Karna then inquired of Drona, "Abhimanyu is invincible and cannot be killed by any of us. Tell us the means by which he may be slain." Drona replied, "I am also not able to stand in front of this foremost chariot driver as he courses the battlefield. The same lightness of hand and knowledge of weapons that is in Arjuna is also in this boy. He is piercing me deeply with his arrows and causing me much pain. Abhimanyu is young and his prowess is great. His coat of mail is impenetrable. The only way to stop him is to cut his bowstring, kill his horses, and slay the protectors of his wheels." Agreeing with this sinful plan, Karna quickly proceeded to the spot where Abhimanyu was releasing his arrows. While he was engaged in fighting with another warrior, Karna cut his bowstring when he wasn't looking. Kritavarman then killed his horses, and Kripa killed the protectors of his wheels. Defeated unfairly in battle, Abhimanyu was enraged. The handsome son of Arjuna descended from his chariot, sword in hand, and rushed toward the 6 great warriors to kill them. Quickly Drona cut off the sword from his hand, and Karna cut off his shield. Abhimanyu then picked up a chariot wheel and rushed at Drona to kill him. The other kings, however, tore the wheel to pieces. That great chariot fighter then took up a mace and ran at Ashvatthama with the speed of the wind. Ashvatthama quickly descended from his chariot and ran in the opposite direction. The son of Arjuna killed Ashvatthama's horses and the warriors that were protecting his chariot. While this was happening, those cowardly so-called kings were piercing Abhimanyu with their arrows as he walked on foot, so covered with arrows that he looked like a porcupine. Abhimanyu then killed the son of Shakuni, Kalikeya, along with 70 Gandhara followers of his. He then killed elephants and 10 car warriors and proceeded toward the son of Dushashan. By this time Abhimanyu was tired and hopeless of life. Still he fought on as only the son of Arjuna could. The son of Dushashan descended from his chariot, mace in hand, and rushed at Abhimanyu, saying, "Wait, wait." Rushing at each other, they were determined to end the other's life. Raising their weapons, they struck each other at the same time. They both fell to the earth, and as Abhimanyu was rising, the son of Dushashan struck him on the head, shattering his crown and depriving him of his life. As he lay there on the battlefield, he appeared like a wild elephant slain by cowardly hunters. All the warriors gathered round and began to cheer and shout loudly their victory. In the heavens were heard this sound. Alas, this great warrior was fighting single-handedly with 6 great warriors, and was killed by them unfairly. This is an unrighteous act. Hearing what had happened to Abhimanyu, the Pandava warriors began to shed tears. King Yudhisthira fainted away, and with great effort was brought back to consciousness. All the great warriors then gathered around Yudhisthira, and they contemplated that youth with a beautiful smile on his face, and thought of his prowess in battle. In the absence of Krishna and Arjuna, this injustice had taken place. Withdrawing to their tents for the night, they did not know what to say to Arjuna upon his return. Thus they sat around the son of Dharma, sunk in the depths of grief. Thus ends the 3rd chapter of the Drona Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled The 13th Day of the Great Battle and the Death of Abhimanyu. Chapter 4 of the Drona Parva. Arjuna vows to kill Jayadrath. King Dhritarashtra inquired, after the great chariot fighter Abhimanyu had fallen in battle, unfairly slain by the 6 great warriors, what did the sons of Pandu do after lamenting greatly the loss of their son? Sanjaya said, Listen, O king, as I describe in detail the oath that Arjuna took in an assembly of kings and princes that brought great joy to the Pandava warriors. After the slaughter of the Adirath Abhimanyu, who was but a mere boy, the Pandava warriors returned to their camps. They put aside their bows and armor and sat surrounding King Yudhisthira. King Yudhisthira, overwhelmed with grief, lamented in the following words. Alas, Abhimanyu, desiring my welfare, pierced the Chakravyuha that was formed by the preceptor Drona. While in that formation, the heroic son of Arjuna fought and killed many of the foremost of the Kaurava warriors. That youth with lotus-like eyes was then slain unfairly by 6 great warriors. Alas, what shall I say to Arjuna, and what words will I speak to the blessed mother Subhadra? He, who was only a child, sacrificed himself instead of refusing to do my bidding. Alas, we shall also lay down our lives when pierced by the wrathful glances of Arjuna. Enraged at the slaughter of his son, Partha will now exterminate the Kauravas. It is evident that the cruel-minded Duryodhana is desiring the extinction of his army, and that he sanctioned the death of that young boy. Sanjaya continued. While the first son of Kunti was lamenting in this way, the great sage Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas came to him. King Yudhisthira immediately arranged the worship of the great Rishi, and after seating him comfortably, King Yudhisthira said to him, O great sage, what can I say to you about our welfare? While battling with the 6 great chariot fighters of wicked mind, the son of Subhadra was slain on the field of war. He fought in battle against overwhelming odds and was unfairly killed. On my orders he opened the formidable array of the preceptor Drona and fearlessly entered into it. While following him to protect him, we were stopped by the ruler of the Sindhus, Jayadrath. While fighting alone in that powerful formation, those evil-minded Kauravas butchered Abhimanyu, who was but a child in years. It is for this reason that I am lamenting the loss of that great hero. Vyasadeva said, O King Yudhisthira, O thou of great wisdom, who is conversant with the Vedas, persons like yourself never lament for the dead bodies of others. It is known to you that the soul is eternal and can never be slain. This brave youth, having killed innumerable warriors, has ascended to the spiritual world. Indeed, that person for whom you lament acted like one mature in years. He has attained a destination that great yogis fail to attain even after performing thousands of years of penances and austerities. O Bharat, death takes away the lives of all living entities. This is the law of material nature, and no one can transgress it. Abhimanyu has now taken a spiritual body just befitting an inhabitant of the spiritual world. He now stands radiant in his own splendor. Therefore, O Ajatashatru, you should not grieve for one who has attained a higher destination. It has already been decided that a great slaughter of the earth's warriors will take place on this field of Kurukshetra. It has been ordained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and no one can change that. Just become an instrument in this great battle. Fight with your enemy and attain great glory. After saying these words that were full of wisdom, the great sage left that place and returned to his own ashram. When the grandfather of Yudhisthira had spoken in this way, the first son of Kunti derived some consolation over the death of Abhimanyu. However, in the next instant he thought to himself, "What shall we say to Dhananjaya?" Thinking like this, they waited for the return of Krishna and Arjuna. After the sun had set on the horizon and the evening twilight still pierced the sky, Arjuna proceeded to his tent, having slain a large number of Samsaptakas. Noticing evil omens in all directions, he spoke to Lord Krishna. "O Keshava, my speech falters and my heart is full of fear. My limbs are weak and thoughts of disaster plague my mind. These are all indications of a great calamity. Certainly the death of one of the great warriors has taken place. Let us go quickly and inquire about Yudhisthira." Causing the horses to proceed at a faster speed, Lord Krishna, acting as a servant of his devotee, soon brought the chariot to where the assembly of kings and princes had gathered. Beholding the warriors in a dejected mood and seeing everything in confusion, Vivatsu spoke to the Supreme Lord Krishna. "O Janardhan, I do not hear the auspicious sounds of the trumpets, drums, and conches. I do not hear the sweet sound of the veena and the clapping of hands. The warriors did not rush to me to tell me of their achievements. Alas, my son Abhimanyu, who is always cheerful, does not come with his brothers to receive me after returning from battle." When Krishna and Arjuna entered the camp, they saw the Pandava warriors cheerless and plunged into grief. Not seeing the son of Subhadra there, Arjuna inquired, "All your faces are pale, and there are no sounds of victory. Where is my son Abhimanyu? Why does he not come here to congratulate me? I have heard that the preceptor Drona arrayed his troops in the formation of a chakra. There is none amongst you who could pierce that array except my young boy Abhimanyu. Did you, out of hopelessness, cause that boy to enter that great formation alone? Alas, as that heroic youth with lotus eyes, has he pierced that great formation and upon fighting with numerous warriors, given up his life? What warrior deprived of his senses has slain my dearest son, that favorite of Draupadi and Keshava and dearly beloved of Kunti? What shall I say to Subhadra upon returning without her son? What shall I say unto Uttara, his dear wife, upon returning to the palace? Alas, it would be better for me to enter the abode of Yamaraj than look upon the crying faces of those ladies." Unto the lamenting son of Kunti, the lotus-eyed Lord Krishna said, "O son of Pandu, do not yield to grief in this way. Abhimanyu has taken the path that all brave heroes take. He has attained those regions where great ascetics of the highest order go. Death is certain for one who does not retreat in battle. Do not grieve, O tiger among men. Those who know the Vedas have declared that the highest merit a Kshatriya can attain is death on the field of battle while fighting the enemy. O best of the Bharatas, these brothers of yours are cheerless upon seeing you plunged into grief. Knowing that the soul never dies and that your son has attained a higher destination, give comfort to your brothers and friends." In reply to the words of Lord Krishna, Arjuna said, "O Lord of the earth, I now desire to hear how Abhimanyu fought the wicked Kauravas. You will see that I will exterminate in battle those who killed my son. I will slay them along with their friends and their kinsmen. All of the great warriors here are competent to save my son. Therefore, how could you have allowed him to be killed in battle? If I had known that the Pandavas and the Panchalas could not have protected my son, then I would have protected him myself. Alas, all of you have no manliness or power, since in the very sight of all, Abhimanyu was killed. Perhaps I should chastise myself, for knowing that all of you were weak, cowardly, and irresolute, I went away. Alas, do you wear your coats of mail and fine weapons for decoration only? How is it that you could not give my son protection?" Arjuna then sat down, overcome by grief and anger. He was holding his bow and his fine sword. No one could look upon him or speak to him. No one could address him save Yudhisthira or Lord Krishna. When there was complete silence, the first son of Kunti said the following words. "O mighty armed hero, after you had encountered the Samsaptakas, the preceptor Drona had made an endeavor to capture me. We succeeded in resisting Drona at all points of our formation. However, the circular formation they had made was too formidable to pierce, and without you our army would have been annihilated. Approaching your son Abhimanyu, we requested him to break that formation and lead all the great warriors to victory. Agreeing to the proposal and equipping himself with weapons that he had received from you, he penetrated that formation. We also followed close behind, desiring to protect that lotus-eyed youth. However, the wretched king of the Sindhus, having obtained a benediction from Lord Shiva, defeated us in battle. While we were struggling with the sinful Jayadrath, that formation closed on us, and Abhimanyu was surrounded by 6 great Maharatis. They were Drona, Kripa, Karna, Ashvatthama, Kritavarman, and Brihadbala, the king of the Koshalas. These cowardly men deprived Abhimanyu of his chariot and weapons. While walking on foot and being pierced all over, he was finally killed by the son of Dushashan. Your son fought bravely, killing 8,000 chariot fighters, 2,000 princes, and 900 elephants. He killed King Brihadbala as well as Lakshman, the son of Duryodhana. Dying in great glory, he has ascended to the spiritual world. Arjuna was overcome with anger. He was wringing his hands, and tears were coming from his eyes. Casting his glances like a madman, he said, "Truly do I swear that tomorrow I will kill Jayadrath. This wretched person is the cause of my child's slaughter. Whoever I encounter that desires to protect this sinful person, I will cut them to pieces with my deadly arrows. Whether it be Drona, Kripa, or Karna, I will defeat all of them and kill the ruler of the Sindhus. I promise that I will enter the hellish regions reserved for greatly sinful persons if I do not sever the head of that vain king. Listen also to another oath of mine. If tomorrow the sun sets without having killed Jayadrath, then I will enter blazing fire. Let the Kauravas, the demigods, the Asuras, the Rishis, whoever there may be, try to protect that sinful person. I will still cut off the head of Abhimanyu's enemy." Having said these words, Arjuna began to stretch his Gandiva bow with both arms. The sound of the Gandiva bow ascended to the sky and touched the heavens. After Arjuna had taken this oath, Janardhan blew his conch shell, the Panchajanya, and Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta. When Arjuna had taken that vow, the sounds of thousands of musical instruments were heard rising from the Pandava camp. Sanjaya continued speaking to King Dhritarashtra. When the spies of Duryodhana informed their master of the cause of the excitement in the Pandava camp, Jayadrath became overwhelmed with fear. He said to the assembly of kings, "Pandu's son is thinking of sending me to the abode of Yamaraj. I shall therefore give up my weapons and return to my home, thus saving my life. O foremost of the Kshatriya race, protect me by the force of your weapons. Listen, all you brave heroes, Partha seeks to slay me. Please render me fearless. Drona, Kripa, Karna, Duryodhana, Vailika, Salya, and Dushashan are capable of protecting a person who is on the point of death. When I am threatened by Falgun, will all of you join together protect me?" Having heard the joyous shouts of the Pandavas, my limbs are trembling in fear. Without doubt the wielder of the Gandiva has taken a vow to take my life. Who is there who cannot withstand Partha in battle? Who amongst you is competent to defeat that best among men? Even the very gods themselves cannot defeat him. Therefore I take your permission to leave the battlefield. I will hide myself so that no one can find me." While Jayadrath was indulging in such lamentation, King Duryodhana spoke to him. "Do not fear, O tiger among men. No one will seek to encounter you while you remain in the midst of the great heroes on our side. Myself, Karna, Drona, Bhurishrava, Salya, Sudakshin, Vikarna, Dushashan, Vinda, and Anuvinda, Ashvatthama and Shakuni, these and many more will face Arjuna and protect you on all sides. These 11 Akshahinis of troops that I own will be carefully arrayed for your protection. Let your fears be dispelled." After hearing these reassuring words from Duryodhana, the ruler of the Sindhus went to Drona and inquired of him as follows. "O illustrious preceptor, I wish to know the difference between myself and Arjuna. I wish to know in truth the chances I have to survive in battle against him." Drona replied, "As far as instructions from a teacher are concerned, you are both equal. In consideration of ascetic merit and the qualities of righteousness, he is superior to you. However, you should not in any way fear Partha, O Jayadrath. Without doubt I will protect you from this fear. The demigods themselves cannot defeat he who is protected by my arms. I will form an array that even Falgun will not be able to penetrate. Do not allow death to be an object of terror to you. All men meet with death, taking with them the deeds of this life. The Kauravas, the Pandavas, the Vrishnis, and all men are mortal and short-lived. Act according to the duties of a brave Kshatriya and fight your enemy." When Drona had banished his fear of the son of Kunti, Jayadrath set his heart on battle. Thus in great delight the sounds of drums and kettle drums were heard in the camp of the Kauravas. After Partha had taken a vow to kill the ruler of the Sindhus, Jayadrath, the mighty armed Lord Krishna addressed Arjuna and said, "Without consulting me, you have taken a vow to kill Jayadrath. How will you fulfill this oath? You have taken a great burden upon your shoulders, which will be difficult to lift. I have heard from spies that upon learning of your vow, the Kaurava warriors have taken all precautions to save Jayadrath. They have 3 formations planned. The first will be the Shakata formation, the second will be the Needle formation, and the third will be the Chakravyuha formation. From the front line of the battle to the point where Jayadrath will be stationed will be many, many miles. Guarding Jayadrath will be 6 great Maharatis, Drona, Kripa, Karna, Ashvatthama, Bhurishravas, and Vrishasen. The prowess of these 6 warriors, O Partha, will, without doubt, be difficult to defeat." Arjuna replied, "These 6 chariot warriors whom you have mentioned are not equal to half my prowess. You will see, O slayer of Madhu, the weapons of all these great warriors cut to pieces and myself heading in the direction of Jayadrath. In the presence of Drona and all the great warriors, I will kill Jayadrath. Even if the demigods and asuras combined were to help them, I will still cut off the head of the ruler of the Sindhus. I will use all the celestial weapons at my disposal, those obtained by Yamaraj, Kuvera, Varuna, Indra, and Lord Shiva. Do not think lightly of the might of my arms and my weapons. When I have vowed the death of Jayadrath, know that he is already slain. Besides all this, I know that because I have you as my friend and chariot driver, it will be easy to conquer over all the soldiers in the universe." After speaking to Lord Krishna, Arjuna requested him in the following words, "O Janardhan, I cannot bear to see the face of Subhadra, who has just lost her son. I have no words to speak to her. Please go and comfort her so that she will not grieve so much over the death of Abhimanyu. Also give solace to Abhimanyu's wife Uttara, and also give comfort to Draupadi, who loved Abhimanyu as one of her own sons." Agreeing to the request of his devotee, Lord Krishna then went to Upaplavya to console the aggrieved relatives. After consoling his sister Subhadra, Lord Krishna returned to Kurukshetra and entered the tent of Arjuna. At that time Arjuna offered his daily worship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He brought all kinds of auspicious articles and worshipped the Lord to his full satisfaction. After smearing his body with scented oils and adorning him with flower garlands, Arjuna sat down beside his dear friend. Krishna then said, "Lay down and sleep soundly, for tomorrow there will be a great battle. I will now go to my own tent." Saying this much, Lord Krishna went to take rest for the night. He was accompanied by his chariot driver Daruka. When half the night had passed, Lord Krishna was still awake, talking with Daruka. He said, "O Daruka, Arjuna has vowed to kill Jayadrath before the sun sets tomorrow. For protecting Jayadrath, Drona will arrange the troops in such a way that it will be impossible to come near him. It will be difficult to slay in battle one who is protected by Dronacharya. Therefore I will, if necessary, do the needful so that Arjuna can fulfill his vow. I will not be able to live on earth without Arjuna. Taking up my weapons, I will kill Karna and Duryodhana along with all their forces. He that hates Arjuna hates me, and he that is a friend to Arjuna is also a friend to me. O Daruka, when the morning comes, equip my chariot with weapons, the Kamodaki, the Shanga bow, and my Sudarshan discus. Also yoke my horses, Sugriva, Megapushpa, Balahaka, and Shaiva, and make sure that they are encased in golden mail. Upon hearing the blast of my Panchajanya conch shell on the Rishava note, you will come to me quickly. I will then proceed to kill Jayadrath in the presence of all the Kauravas." Daruka replied, "Arjuna will certainly be victorious tomorrow, for you, my lord, are his charioteer. However, I will do as you have commanded me and ready your chariot." Meanwhile, as Arjuna lay on his bed, he was contemplating the next day's activities. As he thought deeply of Lord Krishna, he fell asleep. He then had a dream, and in that dream Lord Krishna came to him. He said, "You possess the weapon given by Lord Shiva. It is called the Pashupata Astra. However, you do not know how to use this weapon. Let us go together to the abode of Lord Shiva and receive instructions on how this weapon may be employed to kill Jayadrath." Taking Arjuna by the hand, Lord Krishna took him to Kailas. Passing through many beautiful regions, those two heroes, Nara and Narayan, finally came to the abode of Lord Shiva. Upon seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva offered his obeisances. Lord Krishna is the source of all the demigods, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. After offering his worship to Lord Krishna, Lord Shiva inquired from them, "You are both welcome here. Please tell me the reason for your journey. Whatever the reason, I will satisfy your desires and grant whatever you wish." Arjuna replied, "You have previously given me the celestial weapon, the Pashupata Astra. I now desire to learn how to use this powerful weapon." Hearing these words, Lord Shiva said, "I will grant your request. Just near here is a lake full of Amrita. This is where I keep my celestial bow and arrows. Go there and bring them to me." Lord Krishna and Arjuna then went to the lake, and in the water they saw two snakes spitting fire and poison. They approached those snakes, chanting prayers to Lord Shiva. As they came closer, the two snakes turned into a bow and arrow. Arjuna then took the bow and arrow and returned to Lord Shiva. While glancing at the bow, Lord Shiva produced a brahmachari from the sides of his body. That brahmachari, who was bluish in complexion, then took the bow and strung it. Placing his feet properly and chanting the proper hymns to invoke the astra, the brahmachari released the arrow into the lake nearby. After releasing the arrow, he then threw the bow into the lake. Then Lord Shiva called for the bow and arrow and gave it to Arjuna, and also gave him the benediction that he would fulfill his vow. Arjuna and Lord Krishna, fully satisfied with the worship of Lord Shiva, returned to Kurukshetra and to their own tents. Thus, through that dream, Arjuna learned how to use the weapon owned by Lord Shiva. When the morning came, all the Pandavas rose from their nightly rest and offered their morning prayers. In the presence of all the assembled kings, Yudhisthira said to Lord Krishna, "O Krishna, relying on you alone, we seek victory and eternal life. You, O Lord, are aware of the loss of our kingdom at the hands of these great sinners. O Lord of Lords, you are compassionate to your devotees who rely on you for their very existence. O Slayer of Madhu, please allow the vow Arjuna has made to be realized. O descendant of Vrishni, become the boat that will take us across this vast ocean of the Kauravas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the eternal Lord, the supreme destroyer. O eternal Vishnu, O Hari, O Vaikuntanath, Narada has described you to be the supreme Lord Narayan, who carries the Shanga bow and who wields the Sudarshan chakra. O Lord of all creatures, please be merciful to us and do not allow Arjuna to enter the fire at the end of the day. O Lord, may his vow be fulfilled." To these prayers Lord Krishna replied, "O Yudhisthira, in all the three worlds there is no bowman that compares to Arjuna. He is the possessor of great weapons and wields the prowess of thousands of warriors. Treading over the heads of his enemies, he will certainly fulfill his vows. This very day you will see that sinful person Jayadrath laying on the field of battle and his soul entering the abode of Yamaraj. Today vultures and jackals will feast on the flesh of his dead body. Even if all the demigods combined become the protectors of Jayadrath, that ruler of the Sindhus will not live. Let all your anxieties and lamentations be dispelled." While Lord Krishna and Yudhisthira were speaking, Arjuna came into their presence. Yudhisthira, rising from his seat, embraced Arjuna and smelled his head. He then addressed him, "It is evident from your smiling face that victory awaits you. With the full blessings of our eternal well-wisher, Lord Krishna, I shall see you here at the end of the day with your vows fulfilled." Arjuna then described to all present his dream of the night before. He described how Lord Shiva had instructed him in the use of the Pashupata Astra. He also told them that Lord Shiva blessed him with the fulfillment of his desires. Hearing this excellent story, all were struck with wonder and exclaimed, "Excellent, excellent." Then with joyous hearts they proceeded to the battlefield to make preparations for the day's battle. Thus ends the 4th chapter of the Drona Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled Arjuna Vows to Kill Jayadrath. Chapter 5 of the Drona Parva. The dawn of the 14th day of the great battle. Dhritarashtra inquired, "After the death of the son of Arjuna, Abhimanyu, what did the Pandavas do to avenge the death of their son? Knowing the prowess of Savyasachin, how could the Kauravas remain fearless on the front line of the battlefield? Beholding the 8-bannered son of Kunti in the forefront of the army, how did my sons react to his presence? A dark cloud of gloom has overcome the camp of the Kauravas, for no longer are heard the sounds of music and singing. The soldiers no longer talk of their day's achievements or listen to the Vedic hymns. I think that today a great calamity will overcome Duryodhana and his followers. O Sanjaya, please relate to me all that happened on the 14th day of the great battle. Sanjaya said, O king, I will tell you everything, for I can see the field of Kurukshetra with divine vision. Listen calmly, for great is your fault. If you had formerly restrained Yudhisthira and your sons from playing at dice, this calamity would have never overcome you. Again, before the battle, when the peace proposals were being considered, if you had restrained both sides, then this great slaughter of kinsmen would have never happened. If you had encouraged the Kurus to bind and slay the sinful Duryodhana, then this disaster to your dynasty would have never taken place. If you had done any one of these, the world peace would have been in your grip. Formerly, Lord Krishna showed more respect toward you than even to Yudhisthira. However, since you have fallen from the duties of a godly king, the divine son of Devaki no longer looks upon you as capable of upholding the principles of religion. There is no need to indulge in various lamentations this late in the war. The reaction to your indifference will be great. Listen as I describe in detail the slaughter of the Kauravas on the 14th day of the great war. After the night had passed away and the dawn had arrived, Dronacharya began to array the great divisions in 3 formations. The first formation was in the form of a cart known as Shakata. The second array was the formation known as Chakravyuha. Within the Chakravyuha was the formation known as Suchimukha, or the Needle Point Formation, in which Jayadratha was protected by many soldiers and Maharatis. The front line of the battlefield measured a full 48 miles, tapering off to 20-mile width at the rear of the formation. From the front line of the battle to the point where Jayadratha was stationed was a full 12 miles. After arranging the troops according to his desire, Drona went to Jayadratha and spoke the following words. O ruler of the Sindhus, there should be no fear within your heart. I have arranged our great divisions in such a way that even the demigods will not be able to penetrate them. Buddhishrava, Karna, Ashvatthama, Salya, Vrishasena, and Kripa will be near you to give you protection. In front of you in the form of a needle will be 100,000 horsemen, 60,000 chariot fighters, 40,000 elephants, and 120,000 foot soldiers. From the front line of the battle to the point where you are stationed will be a distance of 12 miles. There is no need to fear Arjuna. If the demigods headed by Indra cannot pierce this formation, what will the mortal Pandavas do? Comforting Jayadratha in this way, Drona then took up his position at the opening to the Chakravyuha. Within the Chakravyuha was the Suchimukhi formation. At the point of the needle array was Kritavarman, and next to him was the ruler of the Kambojas and Jalasandha. Next to those stood Duryodhana and Karna. At the very front line of the battle stood Dharmashan, and behind him Dushashan and Vikarna. Seeing this great formation arrayed by the preceptor Dronacharya, the demigods and rishis were filled with wonder. Sanjaya continued, O king, greatly rejoicing, your troops prepared themselves, thinking that Arjuna would have to enter fire at the end of the day. They beat on drums and sounded their conchas, giving joy to the whole army. Standing in the forefront of the army of the Pandavas was Dhananjaya, who was desiring to slay Jayadratha. He also blew upon his conch the Devadatta, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead blew upon his the Panchajanya. The son of the wind god Hanuman, who was riding on the banner, also roared loudly. His loud voice, mixing with the sounds of the conchas of Nara and Narayan, caused great fear to enter the minds of the Kaurava troops. Their hearts trembled and their hair stood on end. The animals passed stool and urine simultaneously, and the infantry troops were terrified. Some lost their strength, and some lost their senses. Then Arjuna, the carrier of the Gandiva bow, spoke to Hrishikesh these words. O Krishna, urge the horses to where Dharmashan is waiting. Piercing through the elephant division, I will make my way to Jayadratha. Thus addressed by Arjuna, the mighty arm Keshava drove the horses to the spot where the brother of Duryodhana was releasing his mighty weapons. Releasing arrows like a downpour of water, Arjuna began a great slaughter of the Kaurava army. He began to sever the heads of many of the foremost of the great chariot fighters. The sound of the severed heads falling to the ground sounded like the falling of ripened fruits from a tree shaken by an elephant. Very soon the battlefield became a nightmare of headless trunks, dead horses, and elephants. Angered by the death of his son, Arjuna was killing soldiers in tens of thousands. Using his celestial weapons, Arjuna was making a path of destruction. No one could stand before him, and no one would come near him. He was carving a path through the enemy ranks, killing soldiers on both sides of his chariot for hundreds of yards. Cutting through the elephant army, Arjuna caused 10,000 of those huge beasts to lie upon the ground, deprived of life. Routing the division of Durmashan, Arjuna continued making his way through the Shakata formation. Cut up by the arrows of Arjuna, the soldiers that supported Durmashan broke and fled for their lives. Huge elephants, out of great fear, retreated into the divisions of foot soldiers, crushing thousands of men as they went. Dhritarashtra inquired, O Sanjaya, when the van of my army was broken by the son of Kunti, who were the heroes that came to oppose him? How did the preceptor manage to stop the forward progress of that mighty hero? Sanjaya replied, The next division to attack Arjuna was Dushashan. Your son was followed by thousands upon thousands of angry elephants. They came upon Arjuna with great speed. They seemed to be able to devour the whole earth. Quickly rushing towards them, Arjuna began to slay that elephant army with his powerful shafts. Heads began to fall from the warriors that were riding on those elephants. Sometimes Arjuna would pierce with a single arrow as many as 2 or 3 men riding on the same elephant, and they would fall to the ground hooked together by that arrow. Elephants were seen roaming around with armless and headless trunks hanging off their sides. Blood and flesh flowing from the elephants and headless trunks of men created a ghastly scene that few could witness. Dushashan was not able to ward off the forceful weapons of Arjuna. Within a very short time, thousands upon thousands of elephants littered the battlefield like huge barriers in a maze. Some of them had been pierced with 1 arrow, and others by thousands. Some had their heads cut off, and others had their skulls split open, gushing forth flesh and blood. Some of the huge beasts were completely cut in two, and lay on the ground deprived of life. Some were only partially killed, and lay on the ground shrieking in agony. Some of the elephants, upon falling to the ground, crushed foot soldiers and horsemen that were protecting them. The whole battlefield became a nightmare as Falgun completely routed that huge division of elephants. Fleeing the battlefield, the remnants of that army sought Drona as its protector. Sanjaya continued, Completely routing the army of your son, the mighty chariot fighter Dhananjaya proceeded against the division of Drona. Coming upon the preceptor, Arjuna spoke to him. Give me your blessings, O Brahmana. Through your grace I will penetrate this formation and fulfill the vows I have taken. You are to be worshipped by me even as I worship Yudhisthira or Krishna. I tell you truly, even as you protect Ashvatthama, you should also protect me. O foremost of the Brahmanas, stand aside, for I desire to slay the ruler of the Sindhus. I deserve your protection, and therefore I request that you assist me in accomplishing my vow. Thus addressed by Arjuna, the preceptor smilingly replied to him, O Vibhatsu, without defeating me, you will not be able to vanquish Jayadrath. Saying this much, Drona covered Arjuna with a thick shower of arrows. As Arjuna rushed forward, he struck his martial guru with 9 arrows. Drona then drew the string of his bow to his ear and released many arrows that resembled fire and poison. Those arrows pierced Krishna and Arjuna, inflicting great pain. Drona then cut the string of Arjuna's bow. Stringing his bow again, the son of Kunti released 600 arrows as if he had released only 1. He then released 700, then 1,000, then 10,000. All these arrows killed the supporting troops that were protecting Drona. Not tolerating that victory, Drona released a long-shafted arrow that struck Arjuna with great force. Trembling from the force of that arrow, Arjuna sat down on his chariot. Pulling out the arrow and rising once again, Falgun pierced his preceptor with many wing shafts. Not wanting to waste time in this duel, Lord Krishna spoke to Arjuna. O Partha, we should not waste time. We must go on avoiding Drona. It will not be long before the sun sets on the horizon, and there is still much ground to be covered. Responding to the wisdom of Lord Krishna, Arjuna ordered that the horses be taken to the right of Drona. When Drona saw that Arjuna was avoiding him, the preceptor said in an angry voice, Where are you going, O son of Pandu? You should not continue on until you have defeated your enemy. Arjuna replied, You are not my enemy, but my beloved preceptor. I am your disciple and therefore like a son. Besides, I do not see a warrior in the whole world who can vanquish you in battle. Sanjaya continued speaking to King Dhritarashtra. Saying these words, the mighty-armed son of Kunti proceeded on, penetrating deep into the Chakravyuha formation. He was followed by Udamanyu and Udamojas, who protected his chariot wheels. The army in front of Arjuna was a thick mass of chariots, infantry, cavalry, and elephants. Carving a path hundreds of yards on both sides of his chariot, that great hero cut open the Kaurava army and caused it to bleed profusely. The chariot of Arjuna rose above the ground because of the mass of dead men, horses, and broken weapons. It was a scene of devastation as Arjuna mowed down the ranks of the Kauravas with his celestial weapons. Chariots without fighter or charioteer were running wild all over the battlefield. Horses were running here and there with decapitated trunks of their riders caught in the stirrups. There was a stream of hot blood flowing from the trunks of these dead warriors. The blood of the elephants mixed with the blood of the horses and soldiers caused a river to flow on the field of battle. Men were seen struggling ankle-deep in bloody mud. Wild elephants with no rider bolted and were seen trampling their own soldiers to death. Arjuna was being quickly pursued by the preceptor Drona. Catching up to his disciple, Drona struck Arjuna with 25 arrows. When Drona released his most formidable weapon, Arjuna invoked the Brahma weapon and baffled the shower of arrows released by his preceptor. Drona managed to pierce Krishna with 70 arrows and Arjuna with 25. Not wanting to waste his time battling with the invincible Drona, Arjuna penetrated the army between the divisions of Kritavarman and Sudakshin, the ruler of the Kambojas. When Kritavarman saw Arjuna coming, he released 10 arrows at him. Countering those arrows, Arjuna pierced him with 100 arrows. Arjuna then shattered his bow and struck him in the chest with 9 arrows. Krishna, not wanting to waste time in duels, told Arjuna, "Do not show any mercy to Kritavarman because he is my relative. Immediately crush and slay him." Then Arjuna released a long-shafted arrow that hit Kritavarman in the chest, causing him to fall to the floor of his chariot. By the time Kritavarman had regained consciousness, Arjuna had penetrated deep into the core of the army. Kritavarman then began to fight with Udamanyu and Udamojas. Udamanyu quickly cut off the bow of Kritavarman and pierced him with 5 arrows. Kritavarman countered and cut the bows of both Udamanyu and Udamojas. Taking up stronger bows, they fought on, trying to follow the path of Arjuna. However, Kritavarman would not allow them to proceed further. Beholding the lotus-eyed Arjuna coming toward him, King Shrutayudha pierced him with 3 arrows and Krishna with 70. Not tolerating the advance of Shrutayudha, Arjuna quickly killed his horses and his charioteer. Abandoning his chariot, Shrutayudha ran at Arjuna with an upraised mace. The heroic Shrutayudha was the son of Varuna, and his mother was the river Parnasa. To protect her son, she begged Varuna, "Let my son become immortal on earth." However, Varuna replied, "No man is immortal in this world. However, I will bestow upon him a celestial weapon by which no earthly person may kill him. Therefore you will have no fear for your son's life." Varuna then gave Shrutayudha a mace that could not be defeated and said to him, "This mace should not be hurled at one who is not engaged in fight. If it is hurled at such a person, it will come back and kill you." As Shrutayudha came toward Krishna and Arjuna, he released that powerful mace for the destruction of Lord Krishna. Disobeying the instructions of his father, he brought death upon his head. The mace bounced off Krishna and came back upon himself, causing his own death. When Shrutayudha fell on the field of battle, all the troops that were supporting him broke and fled. Next came Sudakshin, the ruler of the Kambojas. He had brought with him a full Akshahini division of troops for the sake of Duryodhana. He was a powerful Maharati and was unvanquished. Sudakshin pierced Arjuna with 7 shafts and Krishna with 3. Falgun then countered and released 7 arrows that passed through the body of Sudakshin and entered into the earth. Becoming enraged, the ruler of the Kambojas released 10 arrows that pierced Arjuna in the chest. Greatly angered, Arjuna cut off his enemy's bow and standard. Sudakshin then picked up an iron dart that was covered with jewels and gold. Aiming it carefully, he released it with all his might. That dart, blazing through the sky, pierced the armor of Arjuna and entered into the earth. Arjuna then fell into a swoon and sat down on his chariot. Licking his lips and flaming up in rage, Arjuna decided to put an end to the life of this king. Releasing hundreds of arrows, Partha shattered the king's chariot and killed his horses. Arjuna then released a single golden shafted arrow that struck the king of the Kambojas in the chest. Piercing his armor, it deprived him of his life, and he then fell from his chariot to the earth. With the death of this Maharati, all the warriors that were supporting him fled the battlefield. The next great warriors to approach Arjuna were Shrutayus and Achyutayus. Rushing toward the son of Kunti, Shrutayus released a javelin that pierced the armor of Arjuna, causing him to fall into a deadly swoon. At the same time, Achyutayus forcibly struck Partha with a javelin also. Deeply pierced by both javelins, Arjuna supported himself by seizing his flagstaff. All the troops that supported those 2 warriors roared in triumph, thinking that Arjuna had been slain. Then those foremost of the chariot fighters poured upon Krishna and Arjuna a shower of arrows. Coming to his senses and drawing out both javelins, Arjuna saw thousands of arrows coming toward him. He quickly invoked a weapon named Sakra, and from one arrow came tens of thousands. Piercing those 2 warriors as well as their troops, he deprived them of their legs, arms, heads, and their very lives. All the supporting warriors of those 2 generals were also slain, leaving a ghastly scene of devastation. Ripping open the ranks of the Kauravas, Arjuna continued to make his way toward Jayadrath. There was a solid mass of soldiers in front of him, but the son of Kunti blew them away with his Vayavya weapon. Picking them up like wind picks up leaves, that weapon blew elephants, chariots, horses, and infantry into the air, landing them a great distance away. While thus proceeding, Shutayus, the king of the Ambashtas, resisted him. Arjuna quickly killed the horses that were drawing his chariot. He then shattered his bow and killed his charioteer. Shutayus then picked up a mace and descended from his chariot. With his weapon upraised, he ran at Krishna and Arjuna, stopping the progress of their chariot. He struck Lord Krishna on the head, but the divine son of Devaki did not budge an inch, nor was he affected. Arjuna immediately cut the mace in two with his arrows. Quickly, Shutayus picked up another mace from the ground and hit Arjuna with all his strength. Before Shutayus could strike him again, Arjuna cut off his arms with a couple of broad-headed arrows. Then, with another arrow, he severed his head that was decorated with a crown and glittering earrings. With the death of this great warrior, the supporting troops in his division fled out of fear. Thus ends the 5th chapter of the Drona Parva to the summary study of the Mahabharata entitled, The Dawn of the 14th Day of the Great Battle. Chapter 6 of the Drona Parva. Arjuna makes his way toward Jayadrath. Dhritarashtra inquired, O Sanjaya, after Partha had slain the ruler of the Kambojas, Sudakshin, what did that mighty warrior do who was desiring to kill the ruler of the Sindhus, Jayadrath? Sanjaya said, O king, after the great Adirath Falgun had cut open the first two formations, your son Duryodhana went to the preceptor Drona and spoke the following words. O best of the Brahmanas, you are our sole refuge to save us from the forest fire of Dhananjaya. It was settled before the day's battle that Arjuna would not be able to pass by you and open the formation. I think that my troops have no strength. O great Brahmana, I know that you are devoted to the cause of the Pandavas and are always engaged in doing us evil. I was not aware that you are a razor dipped in honey. If I had known that your vow to protect Jayadrath would not have been carried out, then I would have allowed the ruler of the Sindhus to return to his homeland. Before the sun sets on the horizon, make the necessary arrangements so that Jayadrath is not slain by the third son of Kunti. Pierced by the words of Duryodhana, Drona said, O child, I do not find fault in your words, for you are immature in experience. You are as dear to me as Ashvatthama. However, you must now act according to my instructions. Of all drivers of chariots, Krishna is the foremost. His horses are divine and cannot be slain. Did you not see that today Arjuna was releasing arrows a full 2 miles behind his chariot? Overcome with the passing of time, I cannot keep up with him. The army of the Pandavas is now penetrating the forefront of our army, and Yudhisthira is close at hand. I will now try to capture that great king. As for yourself, you can defeat Arjuna. You are both the same age, and both of you belong to the same dynasty. You are also equal in great achievements. You are the ruler of the world and a great king. O brave hero, you should go yourself to the place where Dhananjaya is releasing his arrows. Duryodhana said, O preceptor, how will it be possible for me to withstand Partha in battle? After he has defeated Kritavarman and your very self, what can I do to withstand the onslaught of Arjuna? How do you think that I am competent to fight with that mighty-armed son of Pandu? I am dependent on you like a slave is to his master. Protect my fame. To these words, Drona replied, Arjuna is certainly irresistible in battle, but today the world shall witness how you will be able to check him. Here I have a golden coat of armor that cannot be pierced by the weapons of the demigods. I will fasten this on you in such a way that Arjuna will not be able to pierce it. Today you will not need to fear the wrath of Arjuna, for this armor will give you full protection. Having said these words, Drona uttered certain mantras and attached the golden armor to Duryodhana's body. It was tied together by the mantras of the Vedas and was impenetrable. Having blessed the king with victory, Drona sent him into battle with Arjuna. The mighty-armed king then proceeded with confidence to the spot where the son of Pandu was battling with the Kaurava army. After sending Duryodhana to fight with Arjuna, Drona began to contend with the army of the Pandavas. He fought a fierce duel with Drishtadyumna in which the horses of both chariots were tangled up with each other. Drishtadyumna descended from his chariot with sword and shield in hand. As he moved toward Drona, Drona could not find an opportunity to kill him. When Dristadumna came out from the cover of the horses and ran at Drona, Drona shattered his shield and sword with his powerful arrows. He then took an arrow out of his quiver, capable of killing the son of Drupad. However, Satyaki cut that arrow to pieces before it could be released. He then took Dristadumna upon his chariot and took him to another part of the battlefield. Meanwhile, Arjuna was making his way toward Jayadratha, causing a great massacre of men. He was releasing his arrows a full 2 miles in all directions. When Arjuna had released his arrows ahead of the chariot, by the time the arrow pierced his enemy, Krishna and Arjuna had arrived there on the spot. The horses of Arjuna's chariot were as white as the milk ocean, and traveled at the speed of the wind. Indeed, those horses traveled by the desire of Arjuna. After penetrating many miles into the Kaurava army, those celestial horses of Arjuna became tired and drew the chariot with great difficulty. Understanding that the horses of Krishna and Arjuna were tired, the kings of Avantipur, Vinda and Anuvinda, rushed at the son of Pandu filled with joy. They pierced Arjuna with 64 shafts and Krishna with 70. They then covered the tired horses of Arjuna with 100 arrows. Encouraged by their victory, they sent up loud shouts and rushed again with great force. Arjuna, not tolerating their stupidity, cut off their bows as they came rushing forward. Taking up stronger bows, they released deadly arrows and fought with all their strength. With a cool and calm mind, Arjuna cut off their bows again, and then killed their horses and chariot drivers. He also killed the supporting soldiers of those 2 mighty kings. Vinda and Anuvinda were related to Lord Krishna as brothers-in-law. Krishna had taken by force their very beautiful sister Mitravinda from the Swayamvara in which he was to choose her husband. Since that time, Vinda and Anuvinda became the avowed enemies of Lord Krishna. They had brought to the side of Duryodhana an Akshahini division of soldiers to fight with the Pandavas. Not caring for family relationships, Arjuna cut off the head of Vinda with an arrow as sharp as a razor. Beholding his elder brother killed, Anuvinda took up a mace and ran at the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna. Filled with rage, Anuvinda struck Lord Krishna on the head with all his might. Lord Krishna did not waver in the least, but sat on the chariot like a mountain. Then Arjuna pulled 6 arrows from his quiver and cut off the legs and arms of that great hero. As he was falling, Arjuna cut off his head with a crescent-shaped arrow. Upon seeing Vinda and Anuvinda slain, a huge force of elephants, chariot fighters, and horsemen all rushed at Arjuna. However, without the slightest difficulty, Arjuna sent all those warriors to the abode of Yamaraj. Arjuna then spoke to Hrishikesh these words: "The ruler of the Sindhus is still a great distance from us, and our horses are very tired. What do you think is the best thing to be done? O Krishna, you are the personification of wisdom. The Pandavas have you for their eyes and you for their ears. Please guide us in all circumstances." Lord Krishna replied, "I shall unbridle the horses and take out their arrows. I will give them water and rest them for a while." Arjuna said, "O Hrishikesh, I will hold the whole army in check with my powerful weapons. Do what is necessary so that the horses may continue with full strength." Sanjaya continued speaking to King Dhritarashtra. "O monarch, descending from the chariot, Arjuna stood fearlessly with his Gandiva bow in hand. Taking this as their golden opportunity, thousands of chariot fighters rushed at the son of Kunti, desiring to slay him. They rushed at him as the ocean covers the beach. Releasing his mighty arrows, Arjuna was able to keep them at bay. Meanwhile, Lord Krishna spoke to Arjuna. "There is no well from which these waters may drink water and feel refreshed." Understanding the desire of Lord Krishna, Arjuna released an arrow into the ground, thus creating a lake that was filled with fish, lotus flowers, and beautiful birds. Witnessing the mystic power of Arjuna, the denizens of heaven were struck with wonder. They had never seen a lake created in the middle of a battlefield. Even the great sage Narada came to see the lake created by the arrows of Arjuna. To the amazement of all, Arjuna then created a protective house out of arrows from which the horses could drink the water. Seeing this, Lord Krishna exclaimed, "Excellent, excellent." Vyasadeva then unyoked the horses and led them to the house made of arrows. Lord Krishna then plucked out their arrows and rubbed his transcendental hand over their wounds, relieving them of all fatigue and pain. He then led them to the water, where they could drink as much as they desired. All this was done in the thickest of fighting. Lord Krishna, acting as if he were in an assembly of women, calmly took the horses back to the chariot and yoked them in their proper positions. To all who witnessed this action, it seemed highly wonderful. After yoking the horses to the chariot, Lord Krishna and Arjuna proceeded further into the ranks of the Kauravas. After penetrating the divisions of Drona and the divisions of Kritavarman, Arjuna was coming closer to the place where Jayadratha was stationed. Meanwhile, Duryodhana caught up with the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna. Seeing him coming, Krishna spoke to Arjuna. Behold the son of Dhritarashtra coming towards us. This is a great opportunity to fight with this great hero. Remembering the offenses this sinful person has made against your brothers and your wife, you should kill him immediately. By deceit he has taken away your kingdom and sent you into the forest. Therefore, remembering your former enmity against him, send him to the court of Yamaraj this very day. When Duryodhana was rushing toward the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna, the Kaurava host thought that the king would now be slain. Understanding their mentality, Duryodhana spoke to them. Let your fears be dispelled. I will kill both Krishna and Arjuna and cause them to enter the abode of death. After reassuring the troops, Duryodhana then addressed Partha in the following words. O son of Kunti, if you have been actually begotten by the great King Pandu, then fight with me using all your weapons you have received from the demigods. I want to see your display of prowess. You always speak of achievements that we have never seen. You may now show me those feats by which you have won your fame. After speaking these boastful words, King Duryodhana then pierced Arjuna with 3 arrows, Krishna with 10, and the horses with 16.